Now, since the pandemic began, we know more and more people have been turning to nature as a natural stress relief. And as we've talked about on Cityline, that has included houseplants and outdoor gardening. So say this spring you want to get in on that, but there's one problem. You're a plant killer. Frankie, say there's hope for us yet.
You know, Tracy, anybody that's ever grown a plant has killed a plant. I've killed plants. I know you have killed plants.
Yep. So now indoor plants are really having a moment right now, Frankie, and we see all of this beautiful, lovely foliage all over Instagram. How do you suggest we start to turn our thumbs green?
Well, first thing you have to do is kind of get yourself educated. And, you know, when you go off into the grocery store and you go to buy something to cook, we got to make sure that we give it the right recipe to follow all the way through. If not, we're going to burn the steak or burn the cake mix or just really turn into an awful meal. A lot of the times when people go to the garden center for the first time, it's like going to the grocery store. They go there hungry. They go there with their eyes and they shop with their eyes. And they don't really shop with what they need. And what I mean by that, it's always about picking the right plant for the right spot. And a lot of times people will go and they'll say, oh, I love the flowers on that plant, which is a ranunculus. But that ranuncula is really a plant that's meant for outdoor purposes. It's not really suited for indoors. So what you have to do is to say to yourself, what kind of light do I have in my home? Do I have bright light or low light? And with that, then we start to select the right plant for the right place. The number one reason people kill plants is they just buy the wrong ones.
What should we be using to gauge if we have enough light for a particular plant?
Generally, if we have large windows and we have a west or south facing home or room, that's going to be bright light. If we have east or north facing, that's morning sun, lower light. And if we don't have any windows in a room, that is no light. And no plant grows in darkness. So that's where you can put the faux plant in. But if you want to have a plant for bright light, west or south facing, lots of windows, east or north facing, that's where you're looking for lower light situations. And then the further you are away from that window and whatnot, we'll kind of implement overall. You need to move plants around, but generally the first thing that you're asking yourself, is the room bright? Do you feel bright in the room? Or does your house feel a little bit on the dark side? That's a great way to judge it.
Oh my gosh, that's actually really helpful. I have a dark house, so it's not my fault after all. Your second tip, Frankie, is all about watering. What do we need to know about watering?
Well, this is life right there. Water is indeed life, but water can be death at the same time. Often people out there, when they're looking at plants and they say, oh my God, my plant's sick, my plant's sick, my plant's sick. The first thing they do is, I must need more water, it must need more water, it must need more water. Well, and then you're just drowning your plant because it's already been overwatered. Killing with kindness. Plants, you need to get it in your head, get it in your head. Plants like to dry out in between waterings, and by drying out in between waterings, that actually makes the roots a little bit thicker, a little bit healthier overall. And with that, once we have a healthy root system, we're going to have a healthy plant. This guy here, I can't even get him out, but that one there is, there you go. Nice healthy root system, a healthy plant. If that plant sits in water too long, these roots, where they breathe from and where they get their nutrients from, they drown. And the plant, it dies.
Very good. Okay, your next tip is all about different plants needing different things, and that could mean different soil. Talk to us about soil.
Yeah, so potting soil. This is potting soil. Potting soil versus just a regular garden soil. You can tell just the weight, even though the bag size is a little different. Garden soil is a heavy mix. This is meant for the outdoors. This is a 3-in-1. And if it's put in pots indoors, those plants just won't dry out. They sit too wet, too long. It's too heavy of a soil. With potting soil, it's a nice, light, fluffy soil that has the ability to absorb moisture and then dry out. So plants don't sit too wet for too long. People generally go to buy the cheapest bag of soil, but you want to buy the right bag of soil. That's what's going to make it work for you.
Okay, get the right soil, folks. And there are some beautiful pots, but some may not be the best for you, for your plants, correct?
Yeah, so if your pot doesn't have drainage, and let's say that I was to take a plant and pot it right into this without anything in the base of it, and there's no drainage whatsoever, that plant, the water is going to sit there. It's going to pool underneath, and it's going to drown. So if your pot doesn't have drainage, we either have to build drainage in by putting some rocks in the base, or we drill holes in it for drainage. No drainage means a plant sitting like a bathtub for 24 hours. They don't like it. Tubs, a little bit of moisture is good, not too much.
Not too much. And your last tip, sleep. So I'm confused about this one. If I'm well rested, will my plants thrive? How does this work?
Yeah, so how this works is a lot of plants really want a cooler night. So plants, even though they're actively growing during the day, they go to sleep at night. So if you have a home that you can actually turn down your thermostat at night and let it go a little bit cooler, it'll benefit your plant's health overall. So they generally, most plants like a cooler day, that is a warm day with a cool night, and during the night being dark. So by a plant being in dark and a cooler temperature at night, that gives it a rest period. That rest period actually makes it healthier, and you get slower, stronger growth. So plants do need to go to sleep as well.
They really need everything we need. Should we also be giving them a glass of wine on Friday? Maybe not.
Well, you know what? The wine bottle, you can bury it, and then that'll discourage some of the mice around there. There's always a need and use for wine anytime.
Thank you, Frankie.